Hey guys, welcome to Comic Book Club. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
And we are doing a midday show, so you decide to relax with cups of coffee and cookies. Pete's gone, so it's going to be uber relaxing.
Yeah, so
very
it's
exciting.
It's like a vacation.
Yeah, but let's get into the comics. We're going to talk about Batman 681, Umbrella Academy, God Save the President, #1, and X-Force, #9. So let's kick it off with Batman R.I.P., final chapter. We've been saying for a long time that we were going to wait for the last issue, see how it pans out, see how it comes together, before we judge the whole arc. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of the problems we talked about are still here.
Yeah.
And one of the big reasons why this isn't working, I think, is because it's set up as like the big Batman story of time, of all time. And really, it's just a piece of what Grant has going, what he wants to kind of say with Batman, I think. Because it's set up, the end of it is an open-ended thing. Like, there's no big point made.
I totally agree with you. This is very confusing for me, I think. Because I really enjoyed, I think, the first 3/4 of the issue or so.
Yeah.
There's some great action in there. There's, a little bit of spoilers, but big spoilers, actually. But Batman has been in charge of Batman the entire time. Essentially, he has been playing everybody, and they've been playing his game. And I thought, this is great. This is him really bringing it back and really bringing it together, and all the pieces from his run really making them culminate in this issue. And then the last quarter of the issue went back to being confusing.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, I think...
I mean, you understand what's going on. I want you guys to understand, because you comment a lot when we say it's confusing. It's not that we don't understand what's going on. It's that it feels choppy, and it feels like scenes and panels aren't connecting with each other.
And he's being coy with what he's doing. Like, he waits, instead of front-loading his arcs with the information we need to get the story, he waits till the very end, dumps some on it, and then he sets up the next one with a bunch of weird, coy openings.
Right.
And so it leaves the reader being like, I felt the same way. I was satisfied with the first 3/4 where you're like, oh, of course, Batman knew the whole time. He knew the whole time.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end, and it's like, oh no, now we don't know anything at all.
Yeah, and I feel like it's ambiguity for the sake of ambiguity, and it's not really working at all. And I want to get back to the first point you made, that the problem with this, more than anything, is the way DC labeled it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Grant Morrison, I don't know if it's DC, I'm going to honestly assume that it's DC,
Yeah.
but labeling it as this gigantic crossover where Batman dies and who knows what's going to happen, screws this.
Yeah.
Because
this is screwed.
If this had been All-Star Batman and we'd been reading it, we'd be like, oh, this is so interesting, this is Grant Morrison. But the way it's labeled in mainstream continuity, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And in particular, the ending doesn't make a lot of sense, and it won't make sense until the next couple of arcs come in and totally screw up whatever Grant Morrison actually intended.
Well, we have Denny O'Neil next, and then Neil Gaiman after that, and then presumably Grant's going to come back and do more, so we have to wait at least that long.
Yeah.
And then it's good. Who knows where we're going to be in the Batman world?
Yeah, it's very frustrating across the board. And there are, I would say, in this issue, there's some really nice moments. There's some really cool moments with the Joker. There's some really cool moments with Batman that do make this worth the pickup.
The Club of Heroes is great, seeing them come back, which made it seem like Grant's world that he's creating, which is cool.
But I feel like these on display here are Grant Morrison's worst impulses, which are still more interesting than 90% of comics, but it doesn't make it worth it.
True that.
All right, let's move on. Talk about Umbrella Academy, God Save the President, #1. This is kind of surprising, because, well, in a nice way, because you would have thought Rockstar Gerard would have done the one miniseries and be done with it, but he's clearly devoted to doing comics.
And yes, and it's great. The first issue is so fun. Like, you're already on board. You know the characters. He can move faster with the story, and he's already setting up a bunch of like weird, different pieces, and then you can already see him starting to bring them together a little bit, which is great.
This is Grant Morrison's best impulses.
Exactly. That are him.
I know. We talked about this for the last series, where it felt like somebody who is copying Grant Morrison but creating their own structure for story writing, and this is even more direct and works even better as a straightforward superhero comic while still having the ridiculous fun impulses from the first series. I really enjoyed this a lot.
It's all the fun, emphasizing the fun of the characters and the writing is what makes this a more successful issue than R.I.P.
Yeah, totally. Last thing we are going to talk about, we're zipping through this, great.
What is missing?
I don't know. Some sort of contrary, angry element.
Maybe it's the cookies. Maybe we haven't eaten enough of these cookies.
Yeah, anger cookies. I baked it with anger. X-Force number 9. I know we talk about the series a lot, but holy crap, it is so good.
It's amazing.
So amazing. You had a good point before we were taping about this issue.
Yes. I was pretty down on Old Man Logan because it's like nostalgia, references. Isn't it funny they're driving a Spider-Man car? And in this, Kyle and Yost are doing something similar, but they're doing it correctly, where they're like taking pieces from the X-Men's history and using them as elements of the story and bringing it together to tell a grand guignol. If I may speak a bit of French.
You may.
Pete would not let me.
You'd be like, speak American.
I'll bring it together to tell this grand story, and it's excellent. It's very good to see that.
Here's what's so great about this comic book, and I think the reason the references work is because they come up with interesting and original ways of making them work in the story. I wasn't as down on Old Man Logan as you were.
Well, you're insane.
Maybe. But I do think you're making a good point here.
This is
a spoiler for this issue. X-Force is going for the Legacy virus, which is in one of Mr. Sinister's lairs. They trip an alarm that activates the Marauders. And as you may know from reading X-Men comic books, the Marauders are clones and continually cloned by Mr. Sinister. But what happens is they release multiple clones of all of them. There's 7 Marauders, and there's 2 groups of Marauders attacking them. So 2 Sabretooths, 2... I can't remember any other Marauder names right now.
The Girl, the
Whiplash,
Cyclone.
Gun Dude. Wow, we're a terrible comic book
Thomas
fans.
Jefferson.
But it makes so much sense. Why, if you have all these clones, would you not have 2 sets of Marauders attack the X-Men?
And because they have all those sharp things to stab them. And then you got Ghost Rider popping around with Warpath.
Oh my god, totally great. Best Ghost Rider appearance ever.
In years.
Ever.
And back
Excellent.
even. Yeah.
So they're making all of these things work well with the characters in the book. It's sharp action, but at the same time, really based on the characters, which is incredible.
All positive things. What a read.
Oh, great. Well, it's so nice that we agree on stuff.
I know.
I hope nothing ever comes to the side of us.
Also, we have no beer.
You guys have a question, you should write us at thecomicbookclub@yahoo.com. You can comment right below, upload your video responses, and if you're ever in New York...
please... go to the Statue of Liberty? I don't know. What do you say at this point? What do you say?
Oh, yeah. Every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., our live show at The Pit.